So the question is, why am I coming out today? I mean, for a whole variety of reasons. First, I've just had a meeting with the president-elect, and I was quite impressed with how well he looks, how determined he is, to help get Cameroon back on the right track, with how much he's looking forward to being installed in office and to get to work for the Cameroonian people. So yes, that's why I came out of that meeting and eager to say something about not only the meeting but also how we see the future. You wanted to know if the intent is not to disrupt what Mr. Biya is doing with regard to being installed in office. I can tell you with absolute certainty that Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakary, the president-elect, is not concerned with that. His concern now is to get Cameroon back on track. He's concerned with the obvious rupture that has to take place and the need for him to get going again, to get this country back to where it should be. And that's his primary concern. He's also concerned with doing everything to avoid a single death, another drop of Cameroonian blood. He's trying to avoid that. So he's not going to want to step into some masquerade that's called a swearing in. He doesn't understand what swearing in they're talking about. The elections were held. It is clear to you and to me and to the international community, and of course the national community, that Mr. Issa Tchiroma won. And that's what matters. The truth matters. And if you, listening to me now, know what the truth is, that should be your only concern. That's the only concern Mr. Tchiroma has. And he's looking forward to organizing himself. He's talking to lawyers, to the political people who know how these things work, and to legislators. And he's looking at the convenient time when he's fully organized to get back to work with a team that he's also in the process of putting together. So I don't, it certainly has nothing to do with Mr. Biya, whom, by the way, Mr. Tchiroma respects. He's worked with him. But he knows that Mr. Biya's time is up. You know it, I know it, he knows it. Mr. Biya's time is up. He's had 43 years to demonstrate his love for country. Unfortunately, after those 4 decades and more, we see a country that no longer has its place within the scope of things, within the global community. Cameroon has lost its respectability. It has lost its place as one of the leading lights of Africa. And it's time to try and get us back to where we should be at this time. And Mr. Tchiroma is concerned about that. So you ask what the basis of Mr. Tchiroma's claim to victory is. We do know that. You know that I do it. We all know that he won in city after city, in ballot, even where Mr. Biya voted. Even in Mr. Biya's own backyard, Mr. Tchiroma won. In some a lot of military bases, he won. So the facts are there. He's aware of it. All of us are aware of it, and he's prepared to do what he has to do, which is organize himself and his team and the country to get Cameroon back on track. So you're asking what the next steps are after Mr. Biya's swearing in. And it's interesting because I put the question to him, and it was one of the moments of relaxation. What victory are you talking about? Mr. Tchiroma doesn't remember. The whole thing was a masquerade. We all know. So, as you know, if you engage in falsehoods, and any action that emerges from that falsehood will also be false. We're dealing here with truth. We cannot save this country on the basis of a pack of lies. We're dealing with truth. And the truth is, the winner will lead a better Cameroon. Reinforce our democracy. Mr. Biya says he was the father of Cameroon's democracy. If he was, then of course this is the time to demonstrate it. To show that he brought democracy to Cameroon, and through that democracy we can have the alternation of government. Then he would have left this country through the high road. He would have taken the high road, and that's what we want him. We're hoping he does. So you're concerned about why the need to be serious and how about the next steps after the swearing in. And I told you, that this was a charade, and I invite you to reflect with me. How in the world could the CPDF and Mr. Biya, who declared war against folks in the Northwest and Southwest, declared war? It is true that some people wanted to secede from the country. You would have thought they would have sat down to discuss why people wanted to secede and what needed to be done. No, on the contrary, a political problem was being resolved through military means. And as a result, a lot of people died. A lot of people ran into exile. And a lot of people are in internal displacement. The internally displaced in Cameroon. And there are millions, hundreds of thousands who left for Nigeria and other surrounding countries. That's the problem. And then to come around in 2025 and tell us that these two regions, the Northwest and the Southwest regions, voted massively for Mr. Biya. If you think that's true, then you've got another thing to do. So how could I give the example I like to give of Batibo, where it is claimed the CPDM got 48,000 votes. 4,800 votes, Mr. Biya. 4,800 plus votes. How could it be? Batibo could not even bring out, I asked. They said Batibo could not even bring out, the number I was given was 200. That they can't bring out 1,000 people. How do you get 4,000 plus votes when 1,000 people could not come out to vote? See, these are the inequities in what came out from these elections. And that's why everything, and the world was watching closely. The world was watching closely. That's why the whole process was ridiculed everywhere. And we're saying, even where it was ridiculed, it was clear who had won. And Mr. Tchiroma is now in the process of preparing to be sworn in. And he wants to do it in the most peaceful way possible. He's very concerned by the fact that there's been an attempt to use guns to legitimate an election because the ballot box was insufficient to keep some people in power. And because they opted for guns instead of ballots, some people died. He's very concerned about that. So he wants to use the coming period to look at all the legal ramifications, to look at all the political and legislative means, and to prepare himself to be sworn in the best way possible, so that this country can come together again to do what needed to be done. After 43 years in power, look at what should have been the flower of the BS system. Yaoundé, capital city. There's a minister who said he doesn't see potholes in Yaoundé. He doesn't see garbage collected in streets across the city. A minister in government said that. Obviously, he isn't looking, or he's driving in areas that have nothing to do with where you and I go. Now, Yaoundé is one of the least developed capitals in Africa today. That should have been the city on the hill, the shining city on the hill, that would set the tone and example for the rest of the Cameroonian nation and its economy. On the contrary, we come into a city that has no lights, a city that has no roads, a city where water is not guaranteed, pipe-borne water, a city where you see graduates on motorbike, not engaged in seriously productive activity, a city where joblessness is the fate of youth. So, and what is true in Yaoundé is true across the country. Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakary wants to change that. He wants to turn that around. He wants a nation that creates jobs for its youth. He wants a nation where the economy rebounds and becomes the economy that many of us, those in my age group, knew about Cameroon. One of the fastest growing economies on the continent. It once was the case. Why? Because we've got the resources. All we need are leaders who do not think primarily about themselves, but think about the Commonwealth. Think about the global good. That's who we want. If Mr. Tchiroma comes and continues the same game, of course Cameroonians will throw him out. But he's coming to rebuild our democracy, the same democracy that Mr. Biya prides himself in having brought to Cameroon. This is the time to strengthen that democracy. The president, Mr. Biya, leaves. There's a peaceful handover, and a new government comes in with new ideas on how to rebuild the country. That's what we're talking about. So we're looking forward to this. Mr. Tchiroma is looking forward to this, and I hope that we all will live to see in a very short time the profound transformation that will take place in Cameroon. And I think with that, a new dawn would have come to the country. And I hope, he wanted me to, when we spoke, he wanted me to reassure everybody that he's strong, determined, ready to go to set the pace and the stage for a whole new Cameroon to emerge. That's why I left him very happily.